Good morning, everyone. This is now the seventh Sunday of lockdown. It's the seventh Sunday where we've not been able to meet and gather at the Citadel. I miss you all very much, and I long for that day when we get to share again and meet face to face in praise and in worship to King Jesus. What a day that will be. What a party that will be. But I'm also buoyant that God is still at work in these times. He's working his love and his goodness into people's lives. I'm hearing so many stories of how God's love is meeting people right in the midst of lockdown, in the pain and in the loss of lockdown. God is being good and being faithful and kind still. I'm convinced that God is using this time to shape us to be more and more like his son, Jesus. For us, lockdown has looked like the formation of a new routine, of new things happening. I wanted to start by sharing my number one tip for lockdown. What we've done is we've instigated a game of hide and seek before bedtime. So Elliot will go and hide and we will count to 10. And it is amazing how long it can take to count to 20 these days. So what he will do is he will go off and he'll hide in a wardrobe or somewhere and he'll be very quiet. It's amazing how quiet a 4-year-old boy can be when he thinks he's going to be found. So I'll let you have that little tip if you need a little bit of peace and quiet on an evening. But it's funny also how over the 6 to 7 weeks that lockdown has been happening now, how small the house is starting to feel. There's been less and less places to hide, which for a game of hide and seeks make things a little bit different. So we have to walk from room to room now, pretending where we don't know whose foot is sticking out of the wardrobe or down the side of the bed yet again. And it's funny because sometimes in life it feels like God is reducing the number of hiding places we have from him as well. And I feel that God in this season is drawing us out of our hiding places. He's bringing us out into the open to strengthen our relationship with him. And even so that we might say as the psalm, God has become my hiding place. One of the ways that I feel God is doing that in the moment is speaking through contentment and being content in the highs and the lows of this experience. And just as we read from Paul in his letter to the Philippians earlier, Paul has experienced every situation in all circumstances. He says he's learned the secret to contentment, both in the times of abundance and in the times of need, being in the times of hunger or the times of plenty. So this lockdown experience may for some have been felt like being brought low, as Paul describes. It might be that of the grief of lost relationships, of relationships that have changed, people that you can't see. It might be grief for those that have passed away. For some, it might be the missing of the routine of life, being unable to go to work, being unable to pop out to friends. It might be the hugs that you miss the most. For others, I know from speaking to you, it's felt like a season of abundance and a season of grace. A season where the out of control busyness of lives have been put the brakes on. And there's a shalom and a peace that has come in these times. It's felt like a time of grace and abundance. But Paul says in both of these situations, he's found the secret to contentment. And if you're anything like me, this lockdown experience has been both highs, both joyous moments, and both difficult and dark and low times. So I feel like God would teach us how, in these circumstances, the secret to contentment. There's a number of ways that we could talk about the secret that Paul describes in verse 12, but he seems to summarize it in verse 13 for us. He says that I can do all things through him who strengthens me. And for me, that quote from this letter has connotations of being able to write a blank check, of being able to be that millionaire. I can do all things through him. Being able to be that professional footballer. I can do all things through God who strengthens me. But we need to caution ourselves because the context with which Paul talks about the all things here is both in plenty and of need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. So in these times, when we may be tempted to run away and hide, be that hiding in busyness, be that hiding in the next pack of chocolate hobnobs, which I'm very tempted to do at the moment, be that hiding away from relationships with one another, God is calling us out of our hiding place in order that we might be strengthened in him in all circumstances, be that abundance or be that need. He's drawing us out so that we might find contentment in and through him. He's teaching us the secret of contentment in this period of time. He may even, dare I say, be using the discontentment, the pain, the difficulties that you are feeling right now, the things that you're missing out on, in order to draw you deeper into relationship with him and strengthening through him, that you might know what true contentment is for the rest of your life. A contentment that comes from God doesn't mean that you have to pretend to be fine anymore. It frees you from that thing of being able to fake being fine, to put on a nice stiff upper lip, and it accepts what current situation you are in, be that like Paul as a prisoner under house arrest as he's writing to the Philippines, or be that in us in York who feel the pain and the loss of not being able to meet together, not being able to gather, not being able to meet friends. A contentment that means that you don't have to fake it. You don't have to just put a brave face on, but allows you to fall in faith in the one who strengthens you. To allow you to fall in faith in the one who strengthens you. But also it's a contentment that is not dependent on you abounding. So if in this season it is a season of abundance for you, then your task is not just to become complacent, but to understand that abundance as a gift of grace from God. To not just be those who say that life is very easy at this moment, I'm enjoying myself, therefore I don't need to find strengthening from God in these moments. It is true for you too, brothers and sisters, that in your abounding, God strengthens you and gives you contentment. Finally, I believe that contentment is also a prophetic act. It's a prophetic statement, because contentment expands beyond the immediate. It expands beyond the things that you can see in front of your face. It expands beyond your current situation, because it acknowledges who God is. It acknowledges his goodness, and it puts faith in his goodness and his ability to strengthen you, and trusts that there is more to come than you can see right now. A prophetic contentment anticipates a day that this will be all over. There will be an end to lockdown. There will be a day when we get to meet together. There will be a day when we get to embrace loved ones again. There'll be a day when we get to gather and celebrate and party at the Citadel. Contentment speaks of those days, but it speaks beyond those days. And in fact, those days will pale into in comparison to the day when he returns, and we get to see face to face the one who we stand before, the one who has strengthened us all the way through this journey with contentment, the one who we put our faith and trust and belief in, the one who has given goodness and kindness to us, the one that in the moments where we felt like throwing in the towel, the one where we felt like hiding away from, the one who we get to see face to face on that final day is the one who strengthens us in the now for contentment in him. So we get to look beyond the present circumstances. Contentment is a prophetic act. And we get to, therefore, in these days, spur one another on, both in our current circumstances, but also to lift our eyes to God, to strengthen us for that final day. The prophetic act of contentment, I believe, in these days is going to be one of a message to the world of what it truly looks like to live under the rule and the reign of God, to see what King Jesus is truly like, the one who strengthens us for this journey, for every situation and circumstance. So be expectant, therefore, brothers and sisters, as you lean into relationship with God, as he strengthens you, as he gives you joy that is inexplicable, a joy that is full, that the world will look on and see the one who truly gives life in these times. So may God bless you. May he strengthen you in these times. May he give you contentment, whether you face abundance or whether you face need, whether you are finding these times easy or these are the most difficult days of your life, or like the majority of us, I expect, have highs and have lows. May God strengthen you in all contentment. In his wonderful name I pray. Amen.